All right, so we're going to start talking about financial literacy, and the first thing we're going to talk about is income. So income is basically when you make money, right? When you work at a job and you get paid. But we want to look at a bunch of different types of incomes you can get. Hourly wage is the most basic one. A lot of low-paying jobs are hourly, so like you work at McDonald's or something. Basically, the more hours you work, the more money you get. That sounds really obvious, but this one's salary is actually different. A lot of salary jobs don't say you have to work this many hours necessarily. So like with teachers and a lot of professionals, it doesn't say you must work this many hours, but it's more like you need to come in every day and finish all your tasks. And at the end of the month, we'll pay you this much money. So for example, I know my dad worked in office his whole life. Some days he had to work late, some days he got to go home early, some days he had to go in on weekends. But at the end of the day, he still got paid the same amount. When I worked at Tim Hortons, when I was in high school and university, the more hours I worked, the more I got paid. So that's those two types. Another one that's very common that you might go through is wage and tips. So a lot of times when people work in restaurants is the most common, but other stuff like if you're going to be a hairdresser or you work at as a taxi driver or something, you can get tips on top of whatever your salary is. The next one's commission. This is only for people that sell really expensive things. So real estate agents that sell houses or car salespeople that sell cars, they don't necessarily get paid like a paycheck for coming in however many hours. They get paid based on how much they sell. So if they only sold one car in the month, they'll only get paid a little bit. But if they sold 10 cars, they'll get paid a lot. Salary and commission is for salespeople that sell smaller things. So it's not always true, but a lot of times when people are working, so for example, if you've seen like the show The Office, they sell paper. They get paid a salary, so like every month they get paid for coming in and doing their job, but the more paper that they sell, they get more money on top of that as a percentage. Royalties is not going to be most of you. Royalties is for like artists, basically, someone who creates a thing. Sometimes it's inventors too. But so you create a thing that is sold. So for example, I wrote a song that gets sold. Awesome. I need help making the song sell because I need people to make if it's like a DVD or if it's distributing on the Apple Store or whatever, advertising, all this stuff. So I work with a company and basically for every single time that the song sells, I will get a little bit of money. That's called a royalty. Piecework is not very common, but basically you get paid per thing that you make. So let's say you're working with, the example here is factory worker. Every time that you build the toy, it's a toy manufacturing company, every toy that you build, you get paid per toy or something like that. And then contract is actually pretty common. It's when people are hired to do a big job and there's expenses involved. So for example, building contractor. So if I had someone come into my house and I wanted them to redo the basement, so like put in floors and put up drywall and like paint and all this stuff, I hire them for a contract and I have to pay them for all the paint and all the workers they employ and their salary. And so at the end, I have to pay them a huge big lump of money, but they're getting a contract salary. Okay? It's not they get paid to come in every day because once they're done the job, they leave. Whereas a salary, once you're done the job, there's another job to do. So those are some types of income, and for all types of income, you get gross pay. So gross pay, gross, comes from like French or Latin meaning big, large pay. It basically means before taxes or expenses. Okay, or sorry, not expenses, deductions, and we'll talk about those later. So it's most common, it's just like how much money you get on your paycheck, the general term, before you have to take away any. So here's some basic example. Xiao's working cutting lawns. He worked 34 hours and he got $10.50 per hour. How do you find his gross pay? All you do is you just multiply, right? So hours times pay equals the total. So in this case, I would do 34 times $10.50 per hour is going to give me $357. Okay, that's his gross pay. There's no deductions, no taxes on that yet. Chi is also working. He worked 34 hours and he earned this much in total. What's his hourly wage? So this is where we got the answer. We kind of have to go backwards. So in this case, we have the total. We have to now divide by the number of hours. So this divided by 34 is going to give us the answer. So 329.12 divided by 34 hours gave me 9.68. That's going to be his pay per hour, which if you look, it's actually worse than this guy. So That's how you work through those two. These are going to be basically the main questions. You just have to ask yourself, should I multiply to turn it into a total, or do I take the total and divide it by the number I'm given? So let's do some more examples. Piecework, it's pretty obvious, right? You make 3 shirts, and each shirt you get paid $10. How do you find it? You just multiply, right? The commissions are a little trickier. So for example, you work a commission, you get 6.5% of the sales, and they sold this much. All you have to do, you turn this number into percent, so 0.065, okay, you divide it by 100, and you just multiply by the number. So in this case, 0.065 times 9865 gave me 641.225. Remember, it's money, so we can only do 2 decimal places, so it would be 641.23. I would round up on a 5, and that's how much money that this person would make in commission. This one, it says the commission and it says the sales, but it doesn't say the percent. So again, this is where we got the answer. We have to go backwards. So we're actually going to divide. So we're going to do the 416.03 divided by 9245. 03 divided by 9245. So that gave me 0.0450. So that turns into 4.5%. Now, a lot of students mix up which order they're supposed to do it in, and I think if you look at the answer, you can see it's really obvious. This answer makes sense as a percent. It's 4%. If I did it the other way, 9245 divided by 416.03, if I did that, divided by 416, it would give me 22.2219. So be careful, because remember, we're finding a percent, right? This would turn into 200 over 2,000%, which doesn't really make sense. So that's how I know that was backwards, and I would have to do it this way. If you have a salary and commission question, it's pretty obvious. You find the salary part, so like you do the hours times the pay rate equals the money, and then you just add it to the commission, which is whatever the percentage is times the sales. Okay, so you find one, you find the other, and you just add them together. The contract work is kind of weird. Basically, what you need to do is you need to find the total cost of everything. Okay, so it's if you're the general contractor, how much do you have to charge the client in total? So basically, you add everything together. So this one says the materials is $785. Okay, so that's the first thing we got to pay. And then we also got to add the 2 workers are 8 hours each at $12.95. So that's 2 workers times 8 hours times 12.85. And then we also have to add the $450 that the contractor is getting paid. Whatever that total is how much the client's going to have to pay. Okay? So those are some basics about income. Give the homework a shot, and that's it.